Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
We are back with another episode called Choosing the Bear. It's about the 4B movement. This is the second and a half time that we've recorded it because we just had to stop and start again.
So, we are trying to move in the direction of a little bit more, what's the word? Appropriate for younger ears. Not necessarily family-friendly content, but we're going to try and stop swearing so much, so.
So if you hear me say, what the flock, that's why. Son of a biscuit. Oh, what was the biscuit-eating bulldog?
Something like that.
You live liquor.
You kumquat!
Pickle you, kumquat.
Shut the front door.
You put my car into a wood
Open
chipper,
your door.
Mary. Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
Early with the chaos.
Yeah, as most of you can see, Jasmine is not filming with us this episode, but she's still going to interject when she feels necessary.
So, for those of you who don't know, hi, I'm Boss Lady Amy.
Nicole Ravioli.
We are the Boss Ravioli Queens podcast, moving in the direction of YouTube. And...
Oh, boy.
And so, today, we're choosing the bear. We gonna tell you why.
4B movement.
So, this is kind of a ladies-only episode, so that's why Jasmine is behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take you back to 2 weeks ago. As Nicole said, this is our second and a half time recording this episode because reasons, technology, whatever. Anyway, so the inspiration for this episode was because we originally reacted to the Harrison Butker speech. And it kind of ties together perfectly with women choosing the bear.
Indeed it does.
And so we're going to pretend that this is being released like it should have been 2 weeks ago. Deal?
Yeah.
Deal. Okay.
But honestly, it's never not going to be relevant.
Correct.
So a little backstory on the 4B movement. From what I understand, it's more so like women in China and India that kind of started it. Because in China, I think they still do the thing where they like kill your babies.
Yeah, there are certain parts of China that you can only have, I think it's one boy and one girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
like
it's the most like traditional parts of China. That still
right.
exists in.
So that's one of the reasons, I'm pretty sure, and the other reasons are because no offense to every single man out in the entire world, but much offense to the ones that suck, which is a good majority. That's why. So screw y'all.
So, for those of you who don't know, which I think pretty much everyone knows at this point, but if you haven't listened to the Harrison Butker speech, I highly recommend that you do. There are parts of it that are just absolutely infuriating.
You want to know why his last name is Butker?
Because he's a butt.
Because he's booty cheeks.
So, Nicole and I were actually just talking about this the other day, how Candace Owens was talking about how she didn't think it was such a big deal because, like, these are Catholic ideals. So, basically...
Traditional Catholic.
Yeah, traditional Catholic ideals. And so, basically, like, in his speech, he was talking about how, like, you should put God first and how, like, women belong in the home as homemakers. And it was really invalidating to a lot of the women that were sitting there graduating from college because he was literally telling these women that were at their college graduation that what they're probably most excited about is
getting married and being a homemaker.
Getting married and being a homemaker. It's like, no.
I am never going to be a
I think they're more
Betty Crocker.
excited about the fact that they just graduated college. So.
Toby, can we not?
But anyway, so Candace Owens was talking about how she did not understand why the outrage because...
Can you lay down?
Dogs.
Continue.
Go lay down.
Go lay down, babe. You're okay. Go lay down.
Sometimes we choose the Tobers.
I always choose the Tobers.
But anyway, so she was talking about how, like, she didn't understand the outrage because these are traditional Catholic views. That's not the argument, though. The reason why people are so outraged is because the fact that people still think this.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that, like
if you're a woman and that's the path you choose, that's fine. But you're not going to tell me, who doesn't want anything to do with that I have to do that.
Right. It's so frustrating because that's the assumption for all women still.
Yep. And, like, we have worked so hard to get where we are, all for it to be undone by, like, the overturning of Roe v. Wade, among other things. But, like, something huge for me personally is, like, all of these old white men in Congress get to decide what I can do with my body when they don't even know what I go through on a daily in my body. Choosing the bear. Always choosing the bear. Because they're also the ones that think that it's fine for a man to grape a woman if she's drunk and was asking for it because of the clothes she was wearing.
Yeah, I've seen those like galleries of what I was wearing, you know, when I was, and it's heartbreaking. Like, some of those images, like, one of them is burned into my mind. It was literally like Barbie pajamas.
Yeah.
And they were like 5-6 years old. Like, what are you asking for?
Or like the newer galleries of all of the choosing the bear memes, but some of them are not funny. Like, they're actually quite serious. And they're like, we wouldn't have to explain why a bear mauled us because it's expected.
Exactly.
But we're not going to be believed if we say that we were graped by a man.
Exactly. Especially if it's a man that's well known and has a good reputation. You're never
he would never do that.
Exactly.
He's such a nice guy.
Those are the ones that do it the most, I swear, the ones that you would never think would.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's always like, what? Oh my god, like that's shocking. And that's what's so scary about those men in particular, is because those are the ones that can hide it so well. Like, those are the ones that you would never, ever, ever expect.
Me and Nicole met one that was like that and then ended up getting convicted and stuff.
Yeah, that was wild.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked.
I was too. I never would have expected it from him. But as soon as I heard that it happened, I was like, oh my god.
I'm like, yeah, I can't believe
Like,
Well,
I never victim blamed. I never was like, oh, she shouldn't have been there.
Right. And it was, like, it's one of those things where, like, once you look back and you start thinking about, like, things they did, and you're like, oh, that kind of was a red flag. Didn't seem like it at the time, though.
Yeah. Well, it was also super fucked up because he was flocked up. It was flocked up.
It's okay.
Sorry.
We're trying, y'all. This is really hard.
It is really hard when you're used to swearing like a sailor and then you just have to, like, go cold turkey. But he was like a teacher of hers, is what I was gonna say. It's super messed up.
Yeah, which makes it even worse. So he, like, saw her on the daily.
And she trusted him.
Yeah.
Just have to plug this real quick. So if you're new, we're typically a caregiving healthcare podcast, but we're trying to branch out into other areas. And so if you have...
And how we relate to it in healthcare still, though.
Yep. And so if you've ever listened to our episodes or seen any of our previous videos, you'll understand why we swear so much. But we're trying, y'all, so bear with us.
I'm putting it back
also,
up here.
you can relate this a lot to healthcare too, because the amount of, like,
the amount of caregivers or gynecologists.
Yeah, there's, like, caregivers that have abused or essayed like residents or something.
Yeah.
Or or residents have done it to caregivers before too.
That actually, I was literally just thinking about this today. A previous job that I had where I was kind of like it wasn't like an in-home caregiving position. It was kind of like not really like a job coach. It was more like a independence coach sort of thing.
Fair.
And like the guy that I was
Every time I put it down, one of the dogs almost knocks it over.
Going-
It's just gonna
Like
stay.
in the bottom part or something.
Oh.
It's like right in your
Line of view.
Yeah.
Okay, so we better be editing these
We will.
clips.
We're gonna have to.
But anyway, so the guy that I was not taking care of, I was visiting, like I don't know, one day, like I was driving him and he was in my car and like he literally just took his hand and just slid it under my leg, like, and because he was in my front seat. And like it was obviously he was drunk, but he was really trying to hide it from me because like he peed on my seat and he didn't even tell me about it. I found it later. But yeah, he literally just like took his hand. You probably can't see because of the camera, and just stuck it under my leg for a while I was driving. And finally, I was just like,
We're just gonna move that.
Move that
You can
over
have that
there.
back.
And so I told my boss about it, who was male. And he was like, well, I don't think that's SA. He's like, I think that's just a behavior. Because this guy was an addict, and so, like, he was really unpredictable. And I was like,
Nope.
So, like, it was really weird, and it just, like, made me uncomfortable. And, like, after, like, the dynamic had shifted. Like, we had a pretty good working relationship, but, like, after that, just going to his house, like, was not the same anymore. And so I talked to his wife, who was like heavily involved in the company. She wasn't like a supervisor or anything, but she was just like kind of helping on the back end with like billing or whatever. And she immediately pulled him like off of my cases.
Well, that's good.
And she was like, why didn't you report this sooner? And I said, I did. I reported this like immediately right after it happened. But I was like, your husband did not do anything about it. She was like, what? She was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah. She was like, that's SA. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, anytime you ever have an issue and like my husband's not handling it, she was like, come to me. He's an idiot. She was like, he's a man, he doesn't get it. Because these sorts of things, like, if that were to happen, like, to a man, it would not have the same indications.
No. And also, like, if you are a man and you are talking to your friends about not being pieces of garbage.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah, pieces of absolute garbage, by making jokes about SA or, like, treating their significant other in a certain way. Good on you, bro. But for those of you that aren't, you are part of the problem. And if you're offended by that, you're definitely part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, I see every friggin' day on Facebook, TikTok, whatever I'm scrolling at the time, and some post about that comes up. There's all these offended men, or they're telling us we're stupid and mansplaining why we shouldn't be choosing the bear. But do you know what it's like to live with the aftermath?
So, one of the things that we kind of touched on a little bit in the first time we tried recording this, which I'm going to try and sum up because I remember it being a really good point, is like you truly have no idea like what it's like to live as a woman until you've actually lived as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just even going to the store, you have to figure out, like, you have to visually
Scope out.
assess where the exits are.
Yeah.
You have to know, like, where you can have, like, a quick out at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times, like, people, I don't do this anymore, but I used to carry my keys, like, right here, so that it would be, like, a quick jab if I needed to.
Cat ear things. The puncher things where you put your two fingers here.
Like the brass knuckles with the cat ears.
Yeah,
I carry pepper spray. I mean, my dad taught me all the good places to hit a man if I ever needed to. Like, and that's just normal. That's not even, like, out of, like, what's the word? That's the
norm.
The norm, the expectation, the reality.
And that is so sad. Like, if you're a girl dad, you're gonna say that you would choose the bear for your daughter too, because I've seen it all over the place. But you're still gonna get offended when a grown woman chooses the bear?
Mm-hmm.
Explain that, because the math ain't mathin', bro.
No. Well, and girl dads have toxic masculinity too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, I'll beat anyone that comes knocking on my daughter's door. Okay. Because that's how we solve our problems.
Right, like how about sitting down and getting to know the person before you threaten to kick their butt?
Right. Like,
have my daughter home by 10 or it's the shotgun.
like it doesn't make any sense. And oh my god, don't even get me started on traveling. If you're a woman, never travel alone.
Nope.
Always have somebody that you can call just in case. There's been so many times where I've been like followed in a place where I didn't really know like where I was or whatever, and I had to call somebody and just be like, yeah, I need to make it look like I am talking to someone that's like just around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many times have I called each of you when I'm at the laundromat because there's creeps?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's another story.
The amount of freaking times that I have had to call these two because there's creeps at the laundromat when I'm doing my laundry, no matter what time of day I go. I have gone at midnight. I've gone at 11 in the morning. Like, it doesn't matter. There's always some creep there.
Yeah, that actually reminds me.
Is.
Laundromat. So in the first episode, I had shared that when my son was a newborn, I remember, so like the laundromat that I went to, they had like a big wall of dryers, and so you had to be like turned towards the wall in order to get your stuff out of the dryer. And I had my son in his carrier, and he was literally right behind me, and so I had my basket, and I was like facing the dryer wall, and I was grabbing stuff out of it, and then I turned to put stuff into my basket, which was right next to my son, and there was this guy that was literally bending down right over my son's carrier, and it looked like he was about to pick him up, and then he saw me turn around, and he booked it. Like, that's the reality. That's the kind of thing that happens to women all of the time.
All the time.
And minorities, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it being Pride Month, that happens.
Gays sometimes, too.
Absolutely. I mean, people of color, gay people, trans people.
The whole spectrum, pretty much.
Pretty much anyone who's not, like, a neurotypical, normal, quote-unquote, person has probably experienced some sort of harassment in their lifetime. Just by strangers.
Yeah. It's happened many a time to me, actually. Mm-hmm. And there was a video I commented on Facebook, like, the other day. And this person was like, "You've been in a relationship?" Excuse me?
Bro, you've been married.
Yeah. I have had a whole A-word husband.
I knew. I was like,
I caught it.
I see the wheels turning.
I caught it.
I knew exactly what she was saying.
But literally, I have had an entire piece of human garbage for a husband.
And then some.
And on top of that, like, multiple other relationships. So, come again? I responded because I looked at his profile picture because I'm that bish. I am. And I told him that was funny coming from someone who looks like they have fleas and lice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was my response. And you know, usually I don't let it get to me that bad, but I was having a real bad day that day. So.
Was it Saturday?
It was.
Okay.
How did you know?
Okay. Now
How
it makes sense.
It almost made it sound like, was it a Saturday? Oh, okay.
No, it was specifically this last Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't really think there's much else to say. I think it's just, until things change, we're always going to choose the bear. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, as long as there's still people like Harrison Butker and other people are looking up to people like him,
I mean, people
always going to choose the bear.
How to take accountability for their actions and like
we did
self-control.
Also forget to touch on like the Andrew Tate and Marvin Gaines men.
Yes, we did talk about that last time as well.
So, if y'all don't know, these men literally have, like, a huge social media following and, like, podcasts. Thank you so much. Sorry for the sirens, y'all. I don't know where they're going, and I don't care.
Probably that place you used to work at.
Or the other one. That we both used to work at.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Marvin Gaines, Andrew Tate, pieces of human garbage like those two, they literally believe that they can go out and cheat on their significant other and it's fine, but whoever their significant other is either has to be a virgin or have, like, a body count of 1. I think there was one, I saw one where a dude said his woman could only have, like, 5 max. And I'm like, but it's okay for you to go screw whoever you want, whenever you want, and that doesn't devalue you at all. But for a woman, that's not allowed. And then they're not allowed to post, like, say, like, they're feeling pretty, they did themselves up, they're wearing, like, a normal outfit or, like, a skirt or whatever. They're not allowed to post that. Because fragile masculinity.
These are the type of men that, like, would be okay with a real life Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's crazy.
That's what's so scary about all of this, is because it happens all the time, every day.
Right. Well, on top of that, like, I don't know if y'all have heard about the Project 2025 thing. I hate being the only one that knows stuff about that kind of stuff because
You're the one who sits and scrolls out of, like,
I
so much
know,
random
but, like,
information.
how does it not come up for you guys too? I see it everywhere all the time.
My algorithm is memes. I don't know.
Yeah, mine's all funny. Mine's all funny stuff. So.
It's never serious.
I don't want to misspeak, but basically, Project 2025 is going to make it The Handmaid's Tale.
For me, if it's not funny about drag queens or those random, like, weird stories or whatever, like, I don't usually see it. Or Fortnite.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I get interested in stuff, and I also don't want to be blindsided when stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Once in a while, I'll get, like, a random article or something, and I'll read it. But for the most part, it's memes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I need a laugh in my life, okay?
Dude, I get all of that too, but, like, plus what I just mentioned.
Well, now we have to talk about that later.
We will. Brief overview, Handmaid's Tale. It's probably going to be like that. And also, like, the rich are rich, and then the middle class doesn't exist, and we're all poor, and it's Hunger Games.
Solid. Love that for us. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's the direction the world's going, so.
Also, I don't care who you vote for, but don't vote for Trump. Man's just got convicted, y'all. 34 counts, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Guilty on all.
Yep.
Anyways.
I don't even know how he's allowed to still run, anyway.
It doesn't matter. He's still allowed to run. Felons aren't allowed to vote.
But he's allowed to run
for president. Please explain. I don't get it.
And I also just want to say, like, we're not, like, anti-Republican or whatever. I think they're all terrible.
Yeah, all politicians suck.
Yeah, I'm not a very political
I'm not a fan of our current president.
Nope.
Like, I don't think any party has the best interest in mind for the people.
Nope.
I think at the end of the day, as long as we are under their thumb and we keep making them more money, then they're happy. So.
Yep, I agree.
All parties suck.
The two-party system is a scam.
It is. And, like, some of my views are a little bit more, like, left-leaning, but I'm no means, no way, no how, any sort of way.
I can agree with things in both parties because both of them have good qualities.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't matter anymore because they don't actually follow what they're supposed to.
Right. Like, at this point, everything is so, I almost just said the F word. Everything in all directions is so fudged, that
It's so flocking bad.
it's so flocking bad. I don't even frockin' know what we need to do to fix it.
Cue Jasmine Birdface.
Yeah, that was iconic.
It was. I kind of wish you were on camera for that.
I wish you were on camera for that too.
Anyways, I think we've said about all we can say about it now that we got to the very toxic masculinity
Yeah, I mean,
part of that.
it's never gonna change. Like, it's always gonna be an issue. It always has been an issue.
Until people start standing up against it.
Right. I don't know. Like, I don't have any thoughts or, like...
Any extra thoughts,
Well...
I think, you mean?
Well, thoughts on, like, how to fix anything, because it's also broken.
It's just holding each other accountable. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And the person in the wrong taking accountability as well. But it really does come down to just holding each other accountable for everything.
Yeah.
So, I think we're going to wrap it up there. You can find us on Facebook and TikTok at Boss Ravioli Queens. You can also email us, bossravioliqueens@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, y'all. Until next time.
Bye.